Salute. How y'all doing? My name is Derrick Williams. Shout out and respect due to my newest subscribers. Keep up with William Seraphin, Beyond the Veil Investigations, Reviews for You, BD Mon Arpita, Mahalia, Claudia Puskas, Alex Questions, Rufy Eats, Wendy Styles, Mummy K Squad, Mummy Ann on the Go, Pfizer America Life, The Unique Brand Life, Miss Kaburu, Robinson Og, Favor Brava, Barrier Faria, Sports Card Collector 959, and last but certainly not least, Treasure Sitting Pretty. And as y'all know, I'm just one man in the comment section on YouTube. The title of this presentation will be called This is What Gender Equity Looks Like. I am a heterosexual man, and I believe in everyone on earth's right to exist in their way. However, I do have a problem with the quote gay agenda being rammed down our throats in media, sports, politics, you name it. In fact, shout out and respect due to Miss Ashe Divine, an outright warrior in my view. She did a presentation this morning where the Always Feminine Pad company, I believe Procter and Gamble, makes those. Well, they yielded to pressure from a transgendered activist group to remove the female symbol off their personal care product in a politically correct and politically expedient move. Clearly, without question, women have a menstrual cycle and men don't. But in our twilight zone, politically correct environment now, apparently men have cycles too. I'm 52 years old and I don't think I've ever had one. In fact, I know I've never had one. So that dog don't hunt. I want to introduce you to Rachel McKinnon. Rachel McKinnon was born a man, but has now had gender reassignment and now identifies as a female. That dog don't hunt neither. Your DNA says that you are a man if you come out of the womb as such, and you're also a female if you come out of the womb as such. Just by you having to say you had to have gender reassignment implies that you were something else born. You were born this way. So that dog don't hunt neither. But McKinnon has won the Masters Track and Cycling World Championship twice. And in so doing, and I'm going to reiterate that point, he has won the event twice and did it in a world record time. And some of the female cyclists have gone on to say that this was they got a raw deal. It was unfair because even though McKinnon had gender reassignment, you're still a man underneath. And men have more strength and more power than females. This is fact. No debating. But I'm going to let him tell you why everything is all right. But that dog don't hunt for Derrick. All y'all take care. Greenville, Mississippi till I die.
What, as you understand it, is their problem with you competing?
I'm legally and medically female, but the people who oppose my existence still want to think of me as male. They use the language of that I'm a man. And so there's this stereotype that men are always stronger than women. And so if you think of trans women as men, then you think there's an unfair advantage.
Sport as a human right, just explain what that means for you.
We care about the Olympics. We care about our favorite football club. We care about the Rugby World Cup. We care about sport. It is central to society. So if you want to say, well, I believe you're a woman for all of society except this massive central part that is sport, then that's not fair. So fairness is the inclusion of trans women.
Do you think you'd have been a world champion cyclist if you hadn't transitioned?
I don't think I am a world champion because I'm a trans woman. I put in the work. And again, we have to remember, I lose most of my races. I've lost against the specific cis women complaining about me being unfair.
The men's 100-metre record is 9.58 seconds. The women's is 10.49 seconds. there is an undisputable advantage for men in sport, isn't there?
If we talk about men being faster than women, we have to be very careful what we're talking about. So the example you gave was at the
in speed and strength sports, they have a 10% to 12% advantage in most scientific opinions.
At the elite level, right? So when we look at the very best athletes in men and women, you see this roughly 10 to 12% gap. But if we're talking about like the average man, no, that's not true.
But when we're talking about the IOC, we're talking about the elite level, aren't we?
Of course. If you look within a single sex event, the difference between first and eighth is very large. And the difference between first and first between sexes is often smaller than the difference between first and eighth within a sex.
So by that logic, would you not have male or female categories whatsoever?
I think that's a great question. I think that's a different question. So I think it's not fair to trans people to say, well, in order to fix whether to include you in sport, let's just radically shift how we do sport. The IOC has no appetite for that at the moment. They are fully committed to only 2 sex categories of sport.
This study by the Swedish university, the Karolinska Institute, which I know you've read closely, it does say that there's very limited change in thigh strength 12 months after transitioning and taking testosterone suppressants. Thigh strength, as you know more than anyone else, obviously a huge thing, particularly in sport, but particularly in track cycling. Do you accept that there may still be an advantage?
Is it possible? Yes. However, the range of body sizes and strength levels within a sport, you can be successful with massively different body compositions, even within my sport. So again, a British example would be Victoria Pendleton. Teeny tiny skinny legs, best in the world.
If Chris Hoy was to transition at a master's level, if he was to take testosterone suppressants for 12 months and then compete at a master's level against Victoria Pendleton, he would beat Victoria Pendleton.
Would he?
He would beat Victoria Pendleton.
Would Chris? We don't actually know that. Again, we are making this massive assumption. But
I think that's a fair assumption to make. Don't you?
No, we haven't seen this in the rest of sport. So again, trans women have been allowed to openly compete since 2004, since the 2004 Olympics. Since the 2016 Olympics, you didn't require genital surgery, and we didn't see a single trans person. So it was already the case that an unscrupulous country could have taken someone like Chris Hoy and met the testosterone policy, gave him a passport for female, and said, off you go to Rio. Didn't happen. So we've already had 2 Olympic cycles where this could have happened, and it didn't. So when you ask me, well, here's this potential case, what should we do now with real people based on this potential fantasy case? That is not how human rights work.
Is this bigger than sport? Is it more important that trans women feel that they're included than to maintain a category within sport?
I think you're asking me, is like trans women inclusion more important than fairness in sport? But again, my point is that trans inclusion is fairness. It is unfair to exclude legal and medical women, trans women, from women's sport or part of society. So this is much bigger than sport in that it's the proxy for all of trans inclusion in society. Talk of bathrooms has shifted into sport by people who don't care about sport. So I think it's clear that this issue is bigger than sport.